You're like everything you're not, you simple bitch. Like, it's reality. Like, you're not smart or funny. You're not smart, you're not funny. You're not smart, you're not funny. So you're like, that guy was funny and smart. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, literally, if the guy is attractive, he pays the fucking bills, he doesn't cheat on you, doesn't hit you on the lotto. Never get in a man's face. I've never hit a woman. But they all say you do because this is their only default is to talk shit about your character.
So that was a fucking lie.
Well, guys, it looks like that we are back here yet again with some insane updates on good old Peggy Watson, aka the Peginator. And at this point, every single day, it seems to only get worse for this downright clown. Where not even 2 days ago, we saw him get arrested for a DV case for allegedly beating the dog shit out of Megan, where he probably proceeded to go to jail and start immediately bending over and showing people his butthole.
They only know you by your butt on there. They see my face and they're like, oh, who are you again? And then I just bend over, I show them the oh, Wes Watson, how you doing, bro? What's up? Nice to meet you again.
And due to it being such a heinous, disgusting crime, we ended up seeing a lot of his prodigies, old students, and downright fanboy glazers completely turn on him and even talk shit on him. And we even saw some of his most outspoken and biggest defenders, like the one and only Power Bottom Perry, getting in on the action, where he was calling Wes a little bitch and was calling everybody who sat there and observed it or would dare to defend him a bitch as well.
Took a softer approach at first, but now that I've seen all the charges and I've heard what you said to that woman, you're a bitch, your bodyguard's a bitch, your butler's a bitch, and everybody that stood tall and watched that happen or is sticking up for it, you're all fucking losers and idiots.
So not only is he probably getting gripped by his bald head and having the lights pegged out of him in jail right now, but he basically has nobody supporting him and will damn sure not have anybody supporting him now that the police report ended up dropping. And fuck me, it is way worse than I even expected and was somehow just so much more stupid than I thought it would be. So we're just gonna jump straight on into it and look at this heinous bullshit and see just how bad it really was. And the report basically started out by confirming what Daddy Wells had reported, where it stated that the victim had gone to a basketball game with her female friend, and after the game, Wesley had decided to pick her up, and they went to his home. And while they were at his residence, the victim stated that Wesley received a text message of a screenshot of her and her friend while they were at the Heat game, right? And of course, for some reason, this pissed Wesley off, which I don't even know why. I don't know if he was coked up out of his mind or was drunk or what the issue was, but the complete moron began yelling at her and started explaining that he paid for her boob job and that it was disrespectful that she had her very own boobs out during the game. And by boobs out, I'm assuming that she was in some sort of shirt that he apparently didn't approve of. And I don't even know why he's mad about this, because this is the very weirdo who was constantly trying to show off her ass on his Instagram stories and on his streams. But he then proceeded to hit her with one of the dumbest and goofiest lines that I think I've ever seen in my life, where he stated that those are my boobs and then accused her of cheating. So he hit her with the classic "those are my titties" during his little ranting episode. And after being on the goober-ass behavior where he was just arguing, it started to get disgusting and pretty bad, where it stated that the victim further elaborated that this was when the defendant freaked out and against her will forcefully grabbed her by the neck and told her, "You stupid little bitch, that's where you were." And Wesley followed this up, where he began to rattle and shake her by grabbing both of her arms forcefully, and he continued to push and grab her by her hair, where he slammed her on the floor. It then states that he dragged the victim by her hair on the floor and later pinned her up against the kitchen table, pushed and grabbed, manhandling the victim, causing a scratch to the victim's right cheek, and then apparently forcefully pinned her back against the table, causing her back to bend and hurt. It is stated that the defendant began yelling at the victim, "I'm going to blank you, I'm going to blank your whole family," and continued to push the victim back down on the floor with force, picked her back up, and forcefully, against her will, sat the victim down in a chair. And this is only the beginning of the disgusting behavior inside of this report, where you can already tell that this is not a stable individual, and it's not somebody who should be out on the street and have freedom. This is just some downright disgusting shit to where he used used his bigger size and basically just tried to Hulk her by slamming her into objects, slamming her on the floor, and just tossing her around. And it only continued to get worse as the victim was yelling for help and yelling to get him off of me, while the 3 other witnesses, aka the people that Daddy Wells called out, you know, Jose, the bodyguard, and their buddy, just sat there and watched, because it stated that the victim claimed that nobody did anything to help her or to get the defendant to stop, and it then noted the size difference where Megan is only 5'1" and weighs 125, while Wes is apparently 6'1" and weighs 245. Now, I think those numbers are exaggerated because it's going to be used against him in court, because there is no way this man is 6'1" and he's not 245 anymore. But you gotta love how when Wes finally got his props for being over 6 foot, it is going to be used against him and used in a way that's going to pretty much fuck him. And after this, the alleged assault continued to go on, where it stated that Wes then grabbed her with his right hand by her hair and slammed her head down into the kitchen table, and it caused the victim to sustain a cut on her forehead, which began to bleed profusely and apparently caused her to black out and lose consciousness, where she stated that her memory was fuzzy afterwards. So not only did Wes, try to Donkey Kong and slam her around, but he also allegedly slammed her head into the table, and then finally stopped the assault on her for a few minutes, where he took her cell phone out of her hands, and while holding a plate, the defendant threatened to break the plate on top of her head, told her he would grab a bottle and smash it across her face, break it on her head, and told her he would kick her face in. So the big, bad, tough alpha male is out here threatening to kick the face in of what is supposed to be someone he loves. And I just cannot believe that people are defending this type of fucking disgusting bullshit, where we even have the bodyguard that wasn't there, the one that wasn't just sitting there watching, letting it happen, commenting, constantly defending him still, where he's making countless posts on Instagram. And it still wasn't done, and it still continued to get even more disgusting and worse, because it then states that this piece of shit then told the victim to drink while forcefully pouring alcohol down her throat. And it was at this point the defendant told his live-in assistant, who has got to be Jose. Like, I don't know who else would get that title, which is kind of funny that they call him a live-in assistant. Even the cops know that this pussy is a maid. And Wes told him to clean her up, she doesn't stop bleeding, where he cleaned her cut and then glued her forehead injury. It was also at this point the defendant gave his friend, whom was another witness to the incident, the victim's cell phone, and Wes had his little butt buddy look through her text messages, photos, social media, to make sure she wasn't cheating. And keep in mind, this is a 40-something-year-old man who was worried about his little 20-year-old girlfriend cheating to the point to where he has apparently allegedly assaulted her. And it then went on to state that the unidentified friend began instigating the defendant, and the third witness was the defendant's security guard, who told the victim to take accountability for her actions of wearing a shirt which exposed her breast. So this downright pussy, this absolute bitch, not only sat there and watched this shit take place and didn't do anything about it, but then had the audacity to apparently start trying to somehow blame this on the victim. And after this, Wes did not allow the victim to utilize her cell phone or call anyone, and forced her to tell her cousin that she got the scratch on her cheek from derma peeling. And the rest of this section just talks about how Wes didn't want her talking to the police, and if they showed up, she needed to state that she slipped on the rug at the residence. Because of course, his dumbass was on parole, and he feared that the police being contacted would fuck him, so he allegedly held her hostage, where he continued to verbally abuse her and yell at her. And eventually, apparently, Megan fell asleep, and when she woke up the next day, she wanted to leave, but Wes wouldn't let her leave, and Wes apparently continued to tell her that she could not leave because her face was messed up, and you have to stay here for more days until your face heals up. And he was worried that if she went home, her parents would call the police, before stating, "I can't go to jail," which apparently that didn't work out for him because his dumbass is there. And I'm guessing that Wes didn't persuade her with this, because it then stated that Wes proceeded to actually say, "If I go to jail, something bad is going to happen to you, all your friends, and your family." And it stated that Wes further implied he would have girls jump the victim in order to ruin her reputation, and told the security guard to make sure she doesn't run. So this guy is just a psychotic lunatic, if all of this is actually true, which it's kind of looking that way. And it's really disgusting that someone else had to be victimized for this guy to finally get locked up. And the report then went on to continue to talk about how Wes apparently had her telling her family and friends that she was okay and she's going to sleep, and even involved more alleged threats, where Wes allegedly told her, if you want to keep your family safe, don't call police. And while she was seated in a chair, he lifted the chair up with such force, he dropped the victim on the floor. The report is then wrapped up by stating that the physical abuse lasted 40 minutes, but led into the following day, where during this time the victim was scared and afraid of the defendant, and she believed he was capable of blanking her, and then himself, as he said such to her. And I can't say those words because YouTube is softer than baby shit, but you know what I mean. And after this, it involved a list of the apparent injuries, which was, pretty extensive, along with measurements and all that. So it appears that the police did observe such injuries, and that's where it's pretty much wrapped up. So if all of this is held to be true, which right now, he hasn't been convicted of everything, but he has certainly been charged, and it looks like there is a lot of physical evidence, then this man is beyond cooked. He is completely fucked, and it looks like all of his butt buddies might be too. Because this has not been the only update we've gotten, but recently Daddy Wells did another video, so credit to her, where she reported that Jose not only watched, but apparently he blocked the door, along with one of Wes's other little butt buddies blocking the door at the hospital after all of this occurred.
Jose stood in front of the door, blocking the exit so Megan couldn't escape when she was being brutally assaulted. He blocked the door, preventing her from getting out of the house. So let me paint this picture for you guys really quick. Megan is being brutally assaulted by a man more than twice her size. She is screaming, she's crying, she's being dragged, she's being hit, she's begging for help, she's yelling out for help. And as she tries to escape, Jose, instead of, calling out for help, instead of stopping Wes, instead of saying, hey man, that's a little too much. Let's maybe not do that. No, he blocks the door. Goes by T from Houston on social media. And Thomas, I know you're really paranoid right now. I know you're calling all of Wes's friends, trying to figure out what they know. I know you're putting your grubby little feelers out, trying to figure out if people know the role you played in all of this. And I want you to be paranoid because I know exactly what you and Jose did. So guys, let's get into this. The day that Megan finally went to the ER, after all of this happened, after Wes had already held her hostage for over 24 hours, Megan was trying to leave and go to the ER, and Thomas Guillen blocked the door that day. He pulled a Jose and blocked the door so that Megan couldn't get out and her ride couldn't come in and get her.
And yeah, the more I hear from this incident and the more I see, the worse it just continues to get. And this shit was way darker than I was actually expecting. And it is, yet again, really sad to see that someone else had to get hurt in order for this complete maniac to actually be locked up. And if all of this does prove to be true and all of these allegations are proven, this guy's beyond done. Like, it is over. But with that said, if you enjoyed, please drop a sub and a like and join the Saints Mafia. And I'm out. Watching Wes continue to look horrible in peace.